Hello, everybody, and welcome to Romancing Our Stones, your male survival guide to pop culture and media that your girl may drag you to. If that's a bit judgmental for you, I'm sorry. This is Matt,
This is Alex.
and I'm clearly fighting my own personal demons. But thanks for joining us again. We're doing episode 3 of The Bachelorette. Katie thirsting for some love. Her season here in the beautiful state of New Mexico, where they have not yet mentioned any green chilies or hatch chilies, which I found very odd.
Yeah, it's like one of their top exports. What the heck?
Literally, their license plate has chili peppers on it.
So true.
So I mean, they're kind of missing some key points here. But just like every show, we're having some beers. We're gonna talk some stuff. Suds with the buds to talk about rosebuds. Alex, are you doing
nice? I like that.
Thanks.
He reused buds though, so weak. Good but weak. We'll take it. I'm trying a new one here out of Longmont, Colorado. Wibby Brewing. It's called Light Shine Radler. This is refreshing, sweet, tart. And what I'm looking at is it's a Hellas lager with a splash of raspberry lemonade. So I'm actually kind of excited to try this. What is the ABV on this? This is 4.5. So it's doable. Nothing too heavy tonight.
That'll do, pig.
Yeah. What about you? What are you drinking?
I am drinking Tropical Snow Dance from Platt Park Brewing. It's their Mosaic IPA. Their tagline on it is "Keep cold, drink fresh, and live aloha." It's not bad. I like the brewery. It has a coconut taste to it, and like a coconut banana, and those are like two flavors I do not like. But like when the fridge runs low, I'm on a diet actually right now. Like
the beers you don't like, you must go.
Yeah, it's well when you kind of hit rock bottom, you kind of start chewing on pebbles.
Yeah,
and my fridge is empty.
You're bottom feeding in your beer fridge.
Correct. It actually came down to this beer or our pumpkin beer that you and I made, and I chose to avoid that one at all costs.
Yeah, I feel like that's that beer we made is probably better applied to open wounds.
Yeah, or like a smelling salt when someone's unconscious. You just pour a little on their lips and they just snap right up.
Yeah. Let's talk to the Denver Broncos. Maybe that could be our business. We can make very high ABV beers that don't belong in anybody's mouth for tasting.
Like zombie Skittles. We just make zombie beers where, like you try and like make a hipster admit that it tastes good and it's their favorite, but it really is just dog shit beer. I think that'd be a good idea.
Put a really fancy label around it and be like, dude, this is like rated the top IPA in the world.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Your palate can't pick up those notes. Yeah. And we're just in the background laughing, drinking other brewers' beers.
Or we're just saying, I don't know about you, but I think this is terrible. No, man, you just don't understand. Oh, okay.
Ironically, we're doing that without trying, which is really interesting. Our other ones have been good, but the last one we had really kind of killed our mojo. It was like sitting around in a truth circle, and then
with each other, with just ourselves.
Correct, exposing our nuts, and then that's what our beer was essentially. So it's kind of prevented us from doing our next one, which is going to be a peachy sour, which we're trying to put a brewing date together. So
to be fair, we have a Hall of Fame batting average though for making beer. All of our beers have turned out great except for that pumpkin ale. So we're all right. We got to keep that confidence up. I don't know why it shook our confidence as much as it did. We got to get back in that arena and make this sour and knock it out of the park.
But my issue is that like we went right from a bad fruit. Like granted, pumpkin is like it's a delicate taste. Either like it or
it's a gourd. Yeah.
it's a gourd.
We're brewing with a gourd. What do we expect?
I guess it's not a fruit. This takes away my whole joke, but thank you. But no, we're going straight into a peachy sour. So I don't know. Maybe
I like peachy sours.
Okay. Well, then we should brew it.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite beers.
You have a newborn. I have my wants too.
One of my favorite sours actually, or even just seasonal beers in and of itself is I think from Denver Beer Co. Right when it gets to be the season, they take all the Palisade peaches and make a big batch of peach sours, and it's fantastic. It's delicious.
Well,
I'm going to be busting out those this summer. I think they come out late summer. So,
well, we should do it.
Yeah. Anyways, speaking of truth circles,
yeah,
we got a pretty interesting episode that we watched.
I thought there was like.
Do you want to just get right into it and start with that?
Yeah, I mean, we can go back to Carl. I don't really think that's a big thing, but there's like.
We can sum up Carl in like 20 seconds, and that's all he deserves. He basically gets called out for being the prick that he is, and Katie sends him home. So sayonara, we're glad to see him go. She continues to make solid moves in terms of cutting the fat. So I'll give her and the show credit for that.
Yeah.
I don't think she's putting up with the producers trying to have a guy like Carl hang around for a while,
Yeah. And even before I give my opinion on Carl, there's something about this episode that really grinded my gears. Like, it really pissed me off.
Me too.
What it was?
Hopefully it's two different things so we can talk about them.
I can guarantee you it will be.
Okay.
They're at an extremely nice resort, right? And a really expensive resort in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
The damn hotel only has an above ground jacuzzi, like a portable above ground jacuzzi.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have like a built-in jacuzzi. So those guys are sitting in those jacuzzis where the seats are like made where you have to sit in certain angles.
You have to lounge. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Like, that is not my idea of luxury, is to be in like a jacuzzi that can be picked up and moved.
Or like, I get what they're trying to do with those. Like, oh, you're supposed to relax in those things. I don't relax in those things when they're shaped a certain way for you to sit into them. Because I'm like, I don't want to sit like this the whole time. Like, I'd like to sit up. I'd like to, I don't know, put my leg over my knee, and like, kick back. Like, I don't want to be in like the reclined position the entire time.
And I have a bad back, as you know. So when I'm in there and I'm like really tense, I'm in there with someone else and they sit in the wrong spot. Like, I have to awkwardly turn my body to like look at them.
No, it's not even conducive for conversation.
No, it's not conducive.
Everybody's looking like in like an opposite direction.
Correct.
It's crazy.
I just that blew my mind. So yeah. I'm sure that wasn't the thing that you picked up on as well.
It didn't even cross my mind, but it's like when you bring it up, it's like it's throwing sand in my gears.
Why don't they have a nice jacuzzi? Why don't they have a built-in jacuzzi like with the pool? They can seat 25 people.
Even last season, the place up in Vermont, or whatever, New Hampshire, wherever it was, at least they had that custom like bathtub that was out in the woods. I mean, it's still an above ground one, but like that one's legit.
Yeah.
The one that they have here is like the one like you buy over like at the bath and pool expo and like install using a crane same day.
Yes, and like literally looking at all those guys in that one jacuzzi, like literally made me feel like I was at a Super Bowl party looking at a crock pot full of cocktail weenies. Like literally, like it made no sense to me. It really irked me.
So
that's my outrage of the week is that they don't have proper jacuzzi and hot tub. I guess it's called different things. And what do you call it? Do you call it hot tub or jacuzziing? Because I guess different parts of the country call it different things.
I call a hot tub an above ground vessel that churns the water and heats it. Jacuzzis are in ground, usually accompanied by a pool in the same square footage, right? That's what I consider. I consider jacuzzi like the legit. They dug a hole in the ground. It's sealed. It's got tiled. It's like that's what I consider a jacuzzi to be.
Okay.
Like a contractor gets the permits and puts that thing in, not let's put this thing on our porch. Like that's a hot tub, in my opinion.
I wonder, it's like jacuzzi went the way of like jet ski, where like people call everything that a jet ski, when jet skis are when you stand up and sea-doos are where you sit down, but everyone just calls it jet skis.
Mm-hmm.
Like jacuzzi is kind of taken over like spa and hot tub, but that I think I've heard that's a West Coast thing. So
oh really?
I don't know. Maybe we should jump into the episode because this is something that obviously I could talk about all day. But I don't know. That bothered me.
We're about to get sued by the Spa Contractors Guild of America.
The SPAG?
Spag. Yeah. Spaga.
Yeah. Oh no.
So all right, I'll start with this, and again, if you want to jump into it, we can. But
sure.
What grinds my gears is this continual theme of the show tearing open emotional or psychological wounds for contestants, only to be most likely sent home later on. And it happened again. And in my opinion, even more frustrating at a mass scale during the group date.
Yeah.
I mean, so if you want to go there, we can always touch on it later if you want to, but that's what grind my gear.
Let's go right into that, because that was a huge chunk of the episode, was that whole weird circle.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought,
which can I just start with, it starts out with, they all walk into this room, it's pitch black all around them, with like basically like an interrogation lamp over all of them. And lo and behold, of all people, because he's qualified, Nick Viall shows up, and he's gonna moderate this thing, and he says absolutely nothing the entire time. Like, unless they edited him out, like he literally just intros and then just sits there. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, like, at least if I'm a contestant, at least I know some of the guys are sitting in the room with me to a certain degree because we've been living together. But I don't know Nick Viall. I'm not gonna say shit around him. Like, I don't know you, dude.
Well, you could see like the different levels of commitment that like each of the guys had. Like, you have Hunter, who goes first. Hunter's like resonated with me because I'm a divorced guy with kids. Like that was interesting. And then like Thomas came in with like the 8 Mile approach, like the B rabbit. Like, yeah, I got red flags. Yeah, I was dating a girl a week before I came here. Yeah, I wanted to be the Bachelor. Yeah, I had different things.
I do want to address that too, because that was very interesting.
It was like Eminem and 8 Mile. Like, now what you got to say about me? It's like, I don't know. You kind of covered it all until he was pressed on it, and he couldn't say anything.
Hunter. I mean, I think I almost texted you when I was watching this at the moment, and I was like, they start this thing off, and Hunter just goes deep right away, talking about his failures, that he sees his failures as a husband, and that he focused on work, and he focused on the wrong things, and it destroyed his family.
Yeah, and I'm like, focused on the tattoo parlor as well. Did you see his arm?
Yeah.
What was that? A comic book strip?
People can self-medicate however they choose, man. It's who knows? All I know is that I was gonna text you being that wasn't the way Katie was expecting this to go right off the bat. It's like, I feel like if I were her, I'm a Bachelorette, and the producers set this thing up, and Nick Viall's orchestrating it all, and then something like comes out of Hunter's mouth like that. I'm feeling like an asshole personally.
Yeah,
I'm going like, oh my God, this poor man, like, is literally he's leaving it all out in the field here, and like, I feel like a jerk for feeling like I indirectly have forced him to go there right now. Like,
couple thoughts on Hunter. Do you think he looks like Alf, the alien's nephew? I mean, he's got a lot of layers.
I don't even remember Alf's nephew.
Well, no, he looks like Alf. You don't remember Alf the alien?
Yeah, I remember
Alf had a nephew that would be Hunter.
Oh, I thought there was a character like Alf's nephew. I'm like, I don't remember Alf's nephew, but
no, I mean, and then he also looks like a really tired Dennis Quaid.
Yes. No, he looks exhausted. Like, and maybe that's just the production. Maybe it's because, who knows when they do these interviews, right? Maybe it was like 2 a.m, right? Before their cocktail hour to go to sunrise. Who knows? But
I kind of like these older guys on the show too, though. Cause like I found Hunter refreshing, and
because they're real and they actually have,
and they have experience. And then you have like someone like Aaron, who just hates everyone. Like, he obviously gets, he's like literally like, he's like, I'm trying to think of, he's like Tweety Bird, man. He's just like, I'm gonna take him down.
If anybody from marketing at Omaha Steaks is listening, like they need, or like the Beef Association, they need to hire him, because like it should just be a picture with him having like getting angry at everybody and just slap the beef. It's what's for dinner, and just like that's a commercial. I would buy beef.
Where's the beef? Right.
Yeah.
There,
with Aaron has beef with every contestant on this show.
He cusses, he gets angry. And like, another thing that I didn't like about this episode is fucking dudes overreacting. And you have Trey, who, the back of the car ball pit dude, literally you would think someone murdered his parrot with the way he was reacting. Oh my gosh, taking time from everyone. You've already ruined life, bro. It's like, calm down, man.
Yeah. I
mean,
mean,
your screen time. I love the guys who I don't even know who the hell they are. Like they're obviously people that are like non-dramatic. They're just kind of sitting back, and I feel bad for like Connor B, like Catman's kind of being brought into like the drama because they keep having Aaron talk to Connor.
I said this to my wife while I was like watching this, like, 3/4 or maybe like 80% of the way through. I look over and I go, if I were one of these regular guys sitting through all this, I'd be like, good Lord, I can't wait till all these guys are gone. Like, it's like I don't have anything to do with any of this, and I'm like just along for this terrible bus ride to like emotional instability. It's like I just be like, can we like I don't know. I just be like, I don't know. If I were contestant, I'd be like, my one-on-one time with her would be like, so all these guys are like really focusing on like a bunch of nonsense. Like, how about you and I just chat? How are you doing? I need some sanity today because they keep bickering about like whatever. Yeah. Right. And it's like, and I'm not going to start drama, but like these guys are terrible. Just be like, how are you doing? Can we just have a cup of coffee and just hang, like just chill? Like,
and like that interruption scene where Thomas was coming in to steal from Aaron, which they blew into this big issue. If he would have walked in, if anyone would come and walk in and try and steal from me, I would be like, hey buddy, is it urgent? Yes. Okay. Then as soon as I'm done, I'll come find you and you can come talk to her. Yeah. And then if it's not, I'll be like, okay, well, as soon as I'm done, I'll come find you so you can go talk.
Yeah, it's the same answer.
Same answer no matter what. But you got to say like,
treat like a kid. The kid doesn't know the answer is going to be the same. You make him feel like there's a choice.
You literally have to like give guided answers. It's like, hey, like if this was you talking to her, would you appreciate me interrupting? No.
It's like hey, Aaron, I'll tell you what. I'll come get you in 90 seconds or I'll get you in a minute and a half. Which one do you want?
Yeah. 5 minutes.
I'll give you the choice. Yeah, 5 minutes or 300 seconds.
Whatever. You tell me.
Your choice, man. Your choice. You choose.
Really, it's I understand.
One sounds a lot longer than the other. 300? 5.
300 big. Yeah. Would you rather have a penny every day for the rest of your life? But like the only one that really stood out is like obviously Katie. So I appreciate the fact that Katie participated. I'll give her that. Sharing something very deep. Like Matt James would just say like, thank you for sharing that. Like, and then he'd be like, let me kiss your nose. Like literally like it goes nowhere with him, but she at least reciprocated the openness when, even though most people are like, I lost my dad, which like, sad, yes, but that's not answering the question.
And I was worried because at first she kind of opened up with that. She's like, obviously you guys know me, like, like about my dad. And I'm going, yeah, you're going to tell this story again. But then she's like, here's something you don't know about. I'm like, okay, cool. So like, because I've already heard her dad like 4 or 5 times already in like the 3 episodes we've watched. So like when she opened up, which like, I also kind of thought it was like odd that she opened up with that again. But I guess probably just saying like, hey, I know you know this part of me, but like, I'm going to tell you this side of me. Right.
Yeah.
And no, like, and I'm like you, I appreciate like her sharing that story, and it's real. It's a real story.
Another thing I want to point out though too is that I don't think Hunter went first. He was sitting counterclockwise to Nick Viall, and I very much doubt they would start counterclockwise.
Yeah.
So they probably started with him because he was one of the more deeper ones, because I mean, they didn't even play everyone else's secrets. Can you imagine like if you're in there and you're like, okay, like you're like, I did this and this. It's like, oh my gosh, I got caught masturbating one night when my girlfriend came home, and it's like, and then that's the only one they show. That's the only one they show on the show. You're like, oh gosh, like
I'm that guy.
Yeah. Tony killed somebody.
And that's yeah, honestly, like I would be like praying that my story just didn't get edited in, right? I'd be like, when this episode came in, I wonder if like all of those guys are like, oh, please don't do my story, please don't do my story. I'm like, oh crap! Like as soon as it comes in,
Hunter, how do you feel? Shoot,
yeah.
Well, how many people in Seattle do you think did mental math with Katie's story? They're like, okay, 13 years ago she dated so-and-so.
Let alone the guy who's probably watching this being like, oh, shoot.
I thought about the guy's mom where she's like, no, not Timothy. No.
But he's so perfect.
He dated Katie for 4 months and they never figured it out after New Year's Eve. Yeah,
and she tried so hard.
Not making light of the situation.
No. But to your point, imagine like that man's mom being like, "Oh my God, she's talking about my son." Like, yikes.
He deserves to be outed.
Well, yeah, for sure. But yeah, so I think, and I'm forgetting the guy's name who they showed second. Like you said, the guy was like, yeah, I was thinking about being the Bachelor, and like, my intentions like kind of whatever about this.
Yeah, let's talk about Thomas.
Thank you. I wanted to say Thomas. So yeah, Thomas I find very interesting, and this is one of the things I wanted to ask you, because I know that you're always really sharp, and you're probably going to say something about this too. Maybe I'm beating you to the punch here, but you're always really sharp on picking up on just like psychological tactics that people play on the show, and I find it very interesting that his delivery during that whole like confession, right? Or essentially it was a confession, right? The structure was very much sandwiched. It was, yeah, I didn't show up here for the right reasons. And then compliment. And then it was, and yeah, I wanted to be the Bachelor one day. Compliment. Okay, like it always, like he would spend about 3 seconds on his intentions for being on this show, followed by 25 seconds of trying to butter her up the entire time, followed by a quick 3 seconds of, but I also want to be the Bachelor. But that's before I met you, and again, 25 more seconds of trying to butter her up. And I just thought it was very interesting. I'm like, I feel like if these are your intentions anyways, you're being stupid by even sharing this early on.
Yeah.
Like, actually just see if you have feelings for her in the first place, which again, I'll give the benefit of the doubt. Let's say he's actually, dang, this girl's really cool. He's really liking her. Keep developing those first. And then maybe you can have that serious conversation with her down the road and be like, look, share something else that you want to talk about in your past, like don't go right into like, hey, I know it's only like episode 4 right now, and like you still have like 8 guys to chop off at the end of this week. So I'm going to go ahead and say that, like, yeah, I want to be the Bachelor. Like,
well, it's so I thank you for pointing out that I'm smart. Secondly,
I didn't use those words.
You said I'm sharp. It's really manipulative behavior. It's actually very scary what he's doing. It's very narcissistic, personality disorder oriented, where you saw how he's like, getting this rose means everything, and how he spoke in platitudes the entire time. And when he was asked a direct question, you said you have red flags and you're happy to talk about them. He's like, fear and love are so synonymous. And, you're just so great. And looking at you, I just get so happy. And he does the thing. And it's like literally pouring on the emotion so much. Anyone that says I love you right away, watch out. There's someone that needs to get you hooked in on a line before you can. This guy is clearly here to be the Bachelor. I think that's, I've never smiled that much in my 33 years on this earth than he's done in this first 3 episodes. But I wrote down, it's really sociopathic behavior. And I don't think he recognizes how his actions and how he does things, because he's after personal gain or personal fulfillment, how it makes others feel, like
doesn't even cross his mind.
And when he's confronted with it, he's almost like blindsided, like, what? How could you paint this on me? What?
Well, and I sent you this today because I thought it was very interesting. I read this, and so I sent it to you. It says, manipulation is when they blame you for your reaction to their disrespect.
Correct. Yeah.
And it's like you literally just described that. It's like
the victim in their own story, and they're, like, you are putting this on me. Like, I'm just trying to be the best man possible. Or like, I'm just looking out for myself. Like, you're supposed to be cool with
here. You are attacking me. Yeah.
I really had to tell her that I love her. And then he's bad news. He's really bad news. And she's kind of like falling for it.
Yeah, I don't understand. But here's the thing. It works. That otherwise this wouldn't be a thing. right? Like,
I don't know.
like
I've
you said,
never heard
like
of a girl
speaking
say. I've never heard of a
platitudes.
girl dating a bad dude before. I've never heard of that. Is that a thing?
That's true. No, they don't like bad boys.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's weird. But
They don't like red
they can
flags.
change them though.
They never ignore red flags. That's
No.
one thing.
Well,
Guys too, though. Guys never ignore red flags for
they
girls.
could
So
change the flags though. So, you know,
given enough time.
Yeah. Pot me kettle, of course, obviously, because obviously there's men that have their own issues.
For sure.
For
sure. We do the same thing in many different ways.
So no, I thought was really funny too, is like when they were reading into the punctuation of the date card, like it doesn't even say hard Katie. Whoa, that's heavy. Like I remember so many nights, like in my youth or like dating phases or whatever, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was a period at the end of that sentence. It wasn't an exclamation point. She not feeling it. Like what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
That was a total like pubescent boy reaction to the date card with the and then ...
It takes you back to like those days when it's like, okay is okay. K period. Like she's mad.
Hey, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Does she like me?
It follows the is everything okay?
Yeah. Hey Google, what does a purple heart mean? Is it different than a red heart? I need
a yellow one. What does the yellow one mean?
You got her white roses, man. That's a friendship rose. What the hell?
Did I just get French? Yeah, did I just get friend zoned?
Oh man. ... Is she still typing? Yeah. I thought that was pretty funny. Let's talk about Michael.
Let's talk about Michael.
But before we do, really quickly, just something I wanted to point out. A lot of the guys are drinking wine, which I find very odd because they're all in their mid-20s. And do you think that wine is what's being provided, or do you think they're trying to elevate their sophistication level on national television? Because if I was there, I'd be drinking a beer or a cocktail. But everyone was drinking wine in one scene, red wine. I thought it was very interesting. Like, when's the last time you went to a party where 20-year-old men are all sitting around drinking wine?
Do you think that wine gets them paid more per glass than, say, beer? Maybe wine's like do you get paid $500 for every glass of wine you drink tonight?
Well, I saw a couple guys drinking cocktails in the morning. I appreciated that game too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Why not?
Those got to be at least.
I didn't have a date that day, and it wasn't a cocktail party. I'm like, all right, you're gonna have problems with me. I'm gonna be a millionaire when I walk out of here.
I'm hitting the gym in the morning, getting 3 cocktails in me, maybe do some hot yoga, take a nap. That's my day off. If I'm like post one-on-one with a bachelorette,
I took a nap. I got my drip pan.
I'm doing a me day. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a Cars 3 quote, if anyone has kids, which you're getting there, Alex. You have kids, but they're not at the age of where they're watching stuff. All right, let's talk about another dad.
He's got eyes. He's watching stuff, but not shows.
Nah, dude, the lights aren't on.
The lights aren't on. Nobody's home right now. His brain is literally forming.
He hasn't told you again yet. Right now when the movie credits roll, he hasn't said, let's watch it again yet. That's when your life really changes. You think I
can't wait.
Trolls 2 72 times? Yes, but I didn't put it on myself. Cool things about Michael, like it begins at engagement and doesn't end at engagement. The process, like we've been yelling that for years. And it was the first time it was verbalized, and she thought that was like a novel idea. Like people don't know that marriage is really hard. Like, and
he presented it as a novel idea too. He's like, look, everybody looks at it as this way. Why? He goes, I look at it like this. Like, so part of it was his delivery that he blew her mind that way. But here's the other thing too, is like the world is so transfixed on get to the marriage, not what do you do 2 weeks in, 2 months in, 2 years in, 20 years in, right? It's like, it's, so yeah, no, I mean, that one, I'm like, I was thumbs upping that one big time, but yeah, I thought, but again, I don't know if I trust Michael yet completely.
It sounds like a real dude.
It sounds great, but
he's so like with his wife dying, couldn't imagine that. Like one of my mentors, 2 of his wives passed before he did. And he said the similar things that what Michael said, like you have more than one soulmate on this earth. And he said, I was lucky to meet 2 of them, you know, like, and I do like, and like my mentor's second wife knew that the wife that died of breast cancer early, the love will never be replaced, but they will have their own love. And then he went on and had an amazing life with her too. And then she passed as well. And, you know, like it's kind of a crazy deal. Like I hate being opinionated, but January 2019, and this filmed, I think at the end of 2020, or did it film like that's not a lot of mourning time for 12 years of marriage. And like, I get you need to get out there, but like, there's a difference between like activating a Bumble account and going on national TV.
Yeah.
So
on a reality TV show. Yeah.
He seems like a real dude though, which I appreciate, and nothing against him, because I wish him success. I don't think she's ready to step into that role with him, even though she may feel like she's ready. And I only say that because that is a very 180-degree turn of the life that she's presenting about herself. Sex positivity, open, being like I want to start and grow something. It's like this Michael's a complete stop, has a kid that still loves his wife, that love's not going away, starting from scratch. I feel like Katie wants her own story,
which is fine.
Yeah, which is great.
But
great. I mean, sharing a story would be very tough. Anyone that is with me is going to have to share with my story. I have kids, and you know, I have been married before, and you know, like, not that it can't be the greatest love story ever. Girls are advertising that. Hey, you want to have kids but save your body? Hey, I'm your man. No, but it's like literally, like, it's baggage, and it's not baggage isn't all bad, but it's a reality of the situation. It's like
still something that gets carried into the relationship. Yeah. I feel like baggage has a negative connotation, but no, you've got stuff that you're carrying into this relationship.
Yeah,
it's not all negative. But
same with Hunter. I mean, like Hunter has 2 children as well, and you know, like there's gonna be, you know,
I feel like there's like what we mentioned. You know, she's gonna walk in and she's gonna want her own story, which again, she's totally deserving of and entitled to, just like all these other guys have their own story and probably going to want their own story with her too.
Yeah.
But I think that's everybody. And I think that's why some relationships work and some don't, is because I feel like it's really matching up. Like if their story is a story that they want to like live into, that makes sense. If you want to use the metaphor of like a story, right? Like you start to find out if I have an ex-wife or a dead wife, or, you know, I've got kids, and it's like, we very much have this story that we're leading and this path that we lead on already. And some of these things are non-negotiable, right? They're non sequiturs. It's like, this thing's going to be like, we're not casting aside my children while we date. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and also I feel like there's different maturities at these different life stages too. She's not going to hit the really kind of like, at least I don't think so. Like the whole like lovey-dovey flirtatious, like let's do a turnaround trip. Like it's just not going to happen. These guys have hearts that have been opened up and hardened, and not in a bad way, more so than a single guy would be, right? Because they've had kids, they protect those kids. They're, you know, like there's I feel like I feel like I've changed so much just in the last 6 months than who I was all these 31 years prior to.
Yeah, having a kid makes you realize you live selfishly your entire life, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it makes you appreciate time. It makes you appreciate moments.
Yeah,
and I feel like there's this, you know, like I like, to be honest, like before I had a kid, I'd always see these guys. It's like, they go on these shows and like, I really, and girls too, right? When it was The Bachelor, where it's like they have kids, like, I really miss my kids, and like, and it really was like this kind of recurring theme until finally they just got like they just got let go, right? And I was always kind of like, well, like, why did you go on this show for one, right? Yeah. But it was also kind of one of those things, like I get it, you miss your kids, right? But like now that I have kids, I'm like, I would never do the show for that exact reason.
Yeah.
I couldn't be like, here, watch my kid for 2 months.
Yeah.
Like, no way is that happening.
It's hard, like, even though like as a single dad, dating single dad, like part of it too, though, is you have to still identify that you're a person. And even when you're married, like you have to realize that you still have needs and wants, and that maybe you want to run a triathlon, and that will take time away from your family or your wife, or as a single dad, it's like, yeah, I'd love to get married again, or find the right person, but like I also recognize my kids are young, and it's like, hey, like, yeah, no, I can't go to brunch because Johnny has a soccer game, or like like, no, I really can't like go out and have 5 margaritas because like I have to wake up in the morning and pick up my kids. Like it's a different.
I have to be on every day.
Yeah, and especially like, what happens if a medical decision pops up in the middle of your debauchery? It kind of like changes your mind on a lot of different things. So like, I don't know. I'm going to sign up with one of my coworkers for the show. I got his consent. I'm going to sign him up for the next season of The Bachelorette, but everyone's like, you should do it too. And I'm like, I couldn't get away from my kids, and I don't want to get away from my kids.
No,
I'm doing it the way that God intended me to be, on Hinge, on Bumble, just waiting.
That God's really tech savvy. He loves it.
Yeah. Like, like how God intended us to meet people, like on Facebook dating, like all these different things, like, like just the simple ways. But,
if thou liketh thy face, thou shalt swipe right.
Yeah. Hey man, you can't win the lotto without buying a ticket. Am I right?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It was interesting because it was very single dad focused, this deal, and it's like the 2 older mature men are older with kids, and it's like,
which is ironic. I mean, arguably, they'd be probably some of the best providers in the entire group, because they get it.
Yeah.
Right. They've been there. And here's the other thing. Like, it's kind of like you want to test drive something before you buy it. Right. And it's like, they've already been test driven. Like especially with Hunter,
they have no disillusions about marriage.
And he knows where he failed. So he's actually owning up to like, I made mistakes and I know where I made those mistakes. So guess what? He's not going to try and bring into this next marriage, those mistakes. Right. Like, it's kind of like, if he was completely ignorant to it, different story. But the way that he owned up to it in that session was like, she'd be marrying, if it was him, if he wins, like she'd be marrying him, or she'd be marrying a guy that knows where not to make mistakes. And I think that's huge.
Yeah.
So, like you said, not selfish.
Yeah.
So, and disclaimer to that, to what you said earlier, if you want to run a triathlon, like, you also as a dad have to do the things that make you happy too, so that you can continue to be the best dad to your kids.
Correct.
If it's all of them or all your wife, like, you're gonna run yourself into the ground, and you're gonna get all kinds of messed up.
If you die to yourself and give everything just to your kids or just to your wife, and
eventually it suffers. Eventually everybody suffers.
Everything's gonna crumble.
Yep.
Yep. So I mean, I get it, but I just think, like, dude, man, like, do a Plenty of Fish profile. You don't need to go on national TV.
Yeah. I agree with that. No, I agree with that completely. And again, part of it too is, I don't know how these people do it with kids anyways. And then like any of these contestants, it's like, I don't know.
And then they go to like Bachelor in Paradise. It's like, that's another couple months away. Yeah. Like it's insane to me.
Bachelor in Paradise is a whole other conundrum to me too, because I'm just kind of like, they market themselves as these good, upstanding people, and then they're just hopping around from girl to girl or guy to guy for a 2-month span. I'm just like, no, this is like gross. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, so it's always a kind of like I always hate to hear when a contestant that I liked is going to be on it. Cause I'm like, no, like I liked you as you presented yourself on The Bachelor, right? Or I liked you as you presented yourself on The Bachelor.
With all the heavy editing, you were great.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah, it's just kind of like, but yeah. So anyway, that's not here nor there though. So we get through the group date, which again, which is the item that grinded my gears. I just don't appreciate them finding out that like this sells, and so they're tearing people up emotionally and psychologically. But
well, is there anything else you want to talk about while we wrap this?
Who do you think goes home? How many people does she have to eliminate this round? I forget.
I don't know. Is the redhead guy that I've never seen before that was in the background?
Yeah, all he does, or that's all he does, but all I've seen him in is like they cut to him for like emotional reactions to things.
Literally, right? I'm like, I didn't even know there was a redhead in the show. Like, I'm like, who is this guy? I don't even know if he's still around. I always thought that was really funny. And then there's a guy with like the tousled hair. He kind of looks like he just got out of a wetsuit. Like, I don't know who that guy is either. And I also
I want the redheaded guy to like show up and be like, in the final 5 and be like, who's this? And be like, I don't know. Producers just kept pointing me to stand on the mark. He's
literally the Doritos 3D guy that I talked about in the very beginning. Like, I have no idea who this redhead is in the background. He's like floating around. Like, I can't even imagine. But you know, like then like Connor B, it's like your shirt has buttons for a reason, buddy. You can go above your navel. And also he has a chicken tattooed on his bicep. I thought that was interesting.
Maybe he's a chef. No, he's not a chef.
He's a piano bar math teacher.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I wanted to bring up was like when Thomas entered the room when Hunter confronted him, some guy randomly beatboxed. He's like, boom, 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 boom. Did you remember that?
Yeah.
That was so weird. I'm like, whose natural reaction is like, maybe he's like doing like things. It's like, he's here.
The one thing I will mention about the episode that was fantastic. Not that I want to give Carl any more airtime on this podcast.
Yeah.
But I loved looking at how insecure his body language was and his facial expressions were, as all the guys just kept ripping on him.
Like, what if he was talking about Thomas the entire time?
I think he is. To be fair to Carl, I think he was talking about Thomas the whole time.
Be interesting. But
all you have to do is hear once that one guy's like, yeah, I was hoping to be Bachelor in this. And you're going to be like,
oh, pounds.
He's here for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. He wants to be the Bachelor. Like, who wouldn't want to be the Bachelor?
I don't
$100,000 and you get to travel around the world. Yeah, sounds not too bad.
Here, yeah, right. Well, here's the only wrench that would be thrown into this concept or this theory of mine, I'll say. The fact that he didn't just come out and say it. He basically was confronting every guy in the house as opposed to saying, fine, you guys want to know who it is? It's freaking Thomas.
Yeah. Like he actually was like, what if Carl's like the most noble guy of the season? like
he was completely demonized by the editing. Yeah.
Correct. The fact that no one said goodbye to him and then he just stood there awkwardly with his back to Katie and then she didn't move and then he's like, okay, I guess I'll leave.
Guess I'll put one foot in front of the other here.
It's like shadow boxing on his way out, you know, like
yeah. So that's the one thing. I'm like, dude, like you've already burned your entire relationship with everybody in the house, and Katie's gonna hate you for it. Like at this point, why not try to save yourself and be like, what? Nobody's heard Thomas talk about how much he wants to be the Bachelor next year.
Yeah,
like. Because that would change the conversation big time. Because then that wouldn't have happened where what's his name came up and when he got the rose said, just so you know, none of the guys agree with Carl.
Okay, yeah, Mike P. I liked that move. I did not like his precursor to that move when he said we have a responsibility as our unit to protect our queen. I'm like, dude, you need to get laid. You need to like get this monotonistic fixation with the queen and the king, and that's one of my biggest pet peeves. I hate that more than speaking my truth is when someone says this is my queen and this is my king. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You surf. Surf.
or the whole like I'm looking for that, like I'm sure you've seen this on your dating accounts. I'm looking for that person to build my empire with. Oh wow, what's this empire?
I don't know, man. Like Adventure Buddy's really big.
Yeah.
Like we ain't going
Are you gonna
traveling all the time.
are you gonna tell me about your pyramid scheme you're doing?
It reminds me of that South Park episode or that just Dave Chappelle stand up when Michael Jackson's like, "Don't y'all climb trees?" Like, nah, motherfucker, we got jobs and shit. Like, I can't be your inventor, buddy. I got kids. Like, what do you know?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So and that goes right along with the whole king queen thing. It's just like the whole I'm looking for the person to build my empire with. Like, what? What are you building? Please tell me.
Oh my gosh! Or like
you're working a 9 to 5 at a 50,000 employee company. What are you doing to build your empire? Like,
yeah, I want someone to run 5Ks with me. It's like, run it yourself. Like, literally, if that's what you
I will be waiting for you at the end with a beer in my hand.
You don't need no man. You don't need no cheerleader. Like, go out there and just run your race.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can talk about my dating faux pas any other time, but we're out of time here. That's our show. Follow us on Twitter at ROS Guys, on Instagram at ROS Guys. Don't forget to share, like, rate. Ratings help. I appreciate it. We saw the bump in the last month. Thank you guys very much. But please rate, subscribe, share as much as you can. We appreciate you, and we look forward to talking with you guys next week. Y'all have a good week.